fire from his lips. Burn his slave driver.
Welcome, listeners, to Time for an Awakening on Word 900 AM, WURD, on air, online, and in the community. This is a history program based on culture and nationality. We find this program necessary because Hosea 4:6 states, "My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge." But we as a people can turn this around. Proverbs 4:7 states, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get an understanding." Again, welcome to the program this evening with your host, Brother Elliott and Brother Reggie. Numbers to reach us locally, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Toll free, 1-866-361-0900. That's 1-866-361-0900. And we're streaming live at www.900amwurd.com. Again, that's www.900amwurd.com in crystal clear digital quality sound. Drop us an email at timeforanawakening@gmail.com. That's timeforanawakening@gmail.com. We're also streaming live on Facebook. To all you Facebook friends out there, and people that have access to a laptop or a desktop computer or even your smartphone, just go to Facebook, log in Time for an Awakening radio program in the search engine. There you'll always see interesting content being posted by Brother Reggie. And before you leave the page, just hit that like button. That's Time for an Awakening radio program, streaming live on Facebook. Tonight we have a special guest joining us. She and her sister and 3 of her friends became part of history on September 15th of 1963. A bomb blast at the 16th Street Baptist Church killed 4 young ladies. The 5th one is our guest this evening. She'll be joining us to talk about her life, her sister, the proposed congressional medal that they want to give to the families and survivors of the bomb blast, and her feelings on reparations for the same people. Tonight, we'll be joined in conversation with SARAH Collins Rudolph, and she'll be joining us after this break from a few words from our sponsors.
On air, online, and in the community. 900 AM WURD, Philadelphia.
All Insurance Incorporated, an African-American owned and operated insurance agency and business for over 20 years, located at 231 Southeastern Road in Glenside, PA, with other offices in Germantown and West Philadelphia. Call now for commercial insurance quotes, homeowners insurance quotes, automobile insurance quotes, notary and tax services, representing over 15 major A-rated insurance companies, offering a discount on all notary services if you mention WURD when you call in for a free quote. Call this number, 215-885-2444. That number is 215-885-2444. 215-885-2444. All Insurance Incorporated.
Before your roof becomes unruly, call Dooley. Dooley Brothers, specializing in shingle, rubber roofs, gutters, downspouts, and vinyl sidings. Call for your free estimate today. 215-224-3882. That's 215-224-3882. Dooley Brothers Roofing, the roofing experts you can trust. That number again, 215-224-3882. 215-224-3882. Before your roof becomes unruly, call Dooley.
If you need help with your taxes, contact Irby Johnson CPA, an accounting firm with over 30 years of experience. A firm that understands the needs of small businesses and churches, specializing in accounting, taxes, and QuickBooks. Call now and schedule an appointment today. 215-877-0889. That's 215-877-0889. Or visit irbyjohnsоncpa.com. Irby Johnson CPA, proudly serving Philadelphia Florida, South Jersey, and Delaware.
Welcome back to Time for an Awakening, and we're joined this evening by a person that tragically became part of our struggle and our history here in this country. As I stated before, on September the 15th, 1967, in the basement of the 16th Street Baptist Church, 5 young ladies was in the bathroom, or entered the bathroom, when a bomb blast tore through the church. 4 of the young ladies lost their lives: Denise McNair, Carol Robertson, Cynthia Wesley, and the sister of our guest, Addie Mae Collins. Our guest, SARAH Collins, at the time, her name now is SARAH Collins Rudolph, was seriously injured in the blast along with 21 others. Tonight, our special guest joins us this evening in conversation. Miss Rudolph?
Hello.
Miss Rudolph?
Hello.
How are you?
Fine. How you doing?
I'm doing great. This is Time for an Awakening. And host, Brother Elliott, and Brother Reggie are here.
Hi.
Miss Rudolph, before we get started this evening, I just want to make mention that, and I said in the little monologue that I had, that you and your 3 friends and your sister became part of our history here in this country, and tragically part of our history, by 3, possibly more, animals from a state-sponsored terrorist group that planted a bomb in the 16th Street Church. And the reason I say state-sponsored is because Malcolm Patterson, who was governor during that period, and George Wallace, also Bull Connor, set the environment for those type of things to happen, and not to bring people to justice for it. So, it's state-sponsored to me. And we've been terrorized by groups like that, the Klan and others, since the reconstruction of this country. So I just want to say that before we enter our conversation. But, Miss Rudolph, how are you on this day in 2013? How are you feeling physically?
I'm doing pretty good right now, but still I'm under the doctor for my eyes. I lost one eye, but still my left eye still give me trouble. Last June I had to have an operation because I had glaucoma, and I'm still going to the doctor for them to check on it often.
Ms. Rudolph, tell us, if you can, go back to that day in September of '63 and talk about the period leading up to the blast. 5 young ladies, and I'm quite sure it was more, went to the church. For what reason? Give us, for our listening audience, and some of them might not have been born at the time, give us a little background on what happened that tragic day.
On that tragic day, I remember how we walked to church that day. It was my sister Jane and Ed and myself, and when we got to church, we just went to the ladies' lounge to freshen up. And when Janet came down, she told us, "Y'all make sure y'all go to your class." So she went on upstairs to her class, and we stayed in the lounge. Anyway, we was kind of late anyway, so we stayed in the lounge. And while we was in the lounge, Cynthia, Denise, and Carol came in the door and went on the other side where the stalls was. And Addie, she stood by the couch. And when they came out, Denise asked Addie to tie a sash on her dress. And I was standing over by the sink watching her tie the sash. But when she reached her hand out to tie it, there was this loud noise, a boom. And I didn't know what it was. All I could say was Jesus, because it just scared me so bad. And all of a sudden the debris came in, and I began to call Addie, and I called her Addie, but she didn't answer me. So I heard somebody, as though they was inside, they said, "Somebody bombed the 16th Street Church." And it was a man, and he came in and he got me out because I couldn't see, but the glass had blinded me instantly.
Okay. At the time, you were totally unaware of what was going on. When somebody came to pull you out, you didn't know that your 3 friends and your sister had been killed at the time.
No, I didn't. Like I said, I was blinded because glass, so many pieces of glass got in my eye, also my face. And when that man came in and they rushed me to the hospital, and I remember Janie coming in. She came in the hospital later, and I asked her where was Addie, and she said that Addie had hurt her back. So, but later I overheard her tell someone that one of her sisters was killed in the bombing. So I knew for myself that she didn't want to get me all upset because Addie and I was so close. Because I thought at first that the girls had ran in on the other side where the Sunday school was, and and I was just left behind.
Okay. How old was Addie and yourself?
Addie was 14 and I was 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about the time after that. I know that you spent several months in the hospital. Eye surgeries, facial reconstruction.
Yeah.
If you can talk about some of that, the aftermath of what happened in your life.
Well, after I was in the hospital about 2 months, and after I got out of the hospital, I had to really go almost back to school because I was out for about a week, and I went back to school, and they didn't counsel me, and I had to go back to school in a terrible condition. But anyway, before I left the hospital, the doctor told my mother to bring me back in February because they was going to have to remove my right eye because it was so bad. They told me that if they didn't remove my right eye, I would lose my left eye. So I got out in February, and they did that. And when they began to put the prosthesis, and it didn't match my eye, and I was just in a terrible condition, just going to school because I always felt that people was talking about me, and I was afraid really to just move because I always thought, it might come out because it was kind of big,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You became aware later on, after being released from the hospital, that several other people had been injured in the blast. Did you know, and I'm quite sure you knew, several of the young men, women, or older men and women that were seriously hurt in the blast?
I didn't know of anyone that was seriously injured. Some just had maybe some fell on, like the light fixtures or something like that. But I was the one that's seriously injured because I was in there with the 4 girls where they had placed the bomb,
Yeah, that's what I was getting. The bomb was placed almost, you were basically at ground zero of the bomb blast.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Ms. Rudolph, I know it's difficult for you to talk about this, but give our listening audience the aftermath of this. Your parents, you mentioned that you didn't receive any counseling, and not only for you, but your parents and the parents of the other young girls that were killed. Talk about that. What did the city or state or anybody do to reach out to you after this to help you in any way?
Well, during that time, it was so really that the whole city was run by whites, and they was fighting against us. It wasn't too many people just to reach out in public office to just say they would, just come to our rescue or help, either counsel. I mean, it was just still really a white thing, and we didn't really have anybody to turn to, like they have blacks in office today. So we just had to just suffer with whatever was happening to us during that time.
Did the NAACP reach out to your families or to your particular family for any type of financial aid or assistance?
No, nobody. Nobody at all. I remember they had people were sending money to the church from across the world, but my mother didn't get anything because, you know, she didn't have transportation to go to the church and pick up any money, and it wasn't sent to her, so we were left out of that. So behind that, we didn't have any help at all.
I know Dr. King that evening or subsequent evening after the bombing came and spoke. Did your family meet with Dr. King or Ralph Abernathy or some of the other men or women during that period that was active?
Well, I remember, you know, when I was in the hospital, they were just telling me about how Dr. King came to the house and was with my mother during the, you know, funeral, and that was all because, you know, like I said, I didn't get a chance to go to Addie's funeral, but they said he stayed close to the family while they was getting things together to bury her.
Okay. Now, you mentioned to me in private conversations that later on, when your family wanted to move Addie's body, that when the body was exhumed, you found that it wasn't even Addie's body. Tell the listening audience what you told me, Miss Rudolph.
Oh, yes. In 2002, I think that was the year that we decided to, we wanted to move Addie from Greenwood Cemetery to Elmwood Cemetery. And I remember how Smith & Gaston, we went to Smith & Gaston to have things prepared, you know, the casket and all this. And we had a man to exhume her body, her remains. But when he exhumed her remains, Addie wasn't there. It was somebody had dentures, and we know that wasn't Addie. So we had started to go to the funeral home, Poole Funeral Home, to ask where she located. So the funeral home said that they lost the record of her location in a building that caught fire next to the funeral home. So they didn't know where her location was. So we got a lawyer, and we found out the city had that property, and we sued the city, but they threw it out of court because the city said they were just cleaning that area up. They didn't have nothing to do with the burial.
Oh, boy. Go ahead.
Ms. Rudolph, this is Brother Reggie. I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes.
What was the reaction of the other church members' families in relationship to what happened at that time? Were they talking about getting another church home, or was it just basically outrage or sadness over the event occurring at that time?
At the age of 12 years old, I just noticed that they was having church at the LR Hall until the 16th Street Church was built back up. And when it was built back up, I just remember how my family went back, but we didn't stay. I don't think we stayed a month because it was just so upset. It upsetted me, really, to go back there because I was so nervous and scared until I know my mother. She seen how uncomfortable I was, so we just left. We couldn't stay there anymore. But the other families, I don't know how they reacted, really, because I didn't, see them when I started going back to that church.
And as you got older, I want to say when you probably got into high school age, did that event change your mindset of wanting to do more in your community, or galvanize people to get some more things done based on the injustices that you faced as a young girl?
No, I didn't, because my whole life really had changed, because I don't believe people just really understood how 12 years old can go through a bombing like that. It had me so nervous, and I was suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I just couldn't function like I used to. So I was just really at a standstill. I was waiting just to finish school, high school, because way things was then, I was so I know I still had was going through this thing with my eyes, and I was also just so fearful, and I just really couldn't function like I used to. So I just answered that question by saying no, I didn't try to change things.
You stated to Brother Reggie that your family had difficulty when it was time to go back to church, and I understand, but that was probably being your church home, that you wanted to attend the church, but after that tragedy, I can understand it, and it just shows the need where you and your family needed counseling, and the state and the country wasn't there to help you when they knew that these animals were planning this, probably doing it. You could see later on that FBI reports knew that these guys were planning what they were doing.
Yes. And
they didn't intervene until afterwards. And the country having egg on their face, this started the ball to rolling where they passed the 1964 Civil Rights Act. But the country almost had to be shamed into doing something. And it took a tragic incident, like 4 little girls being killed in the church basement, to shame this country into doing something in reference to stopping these wild animals that was running in the South, lynching people, murdering people, blowing up churches, and doing all kind of heinous deeds. I just felt as though I had to vent, Sister Rudolph.
Yeah.
Tell our listening audience, even to this day, I think you told me you still have fragments of glass in your eye.
Oh, yes, I have. I still have a piece of glass in my eye, and they still had to keep watch on my eye because I have cataracts. And, they wanted to take the glass out, but my doctor said he didn't want to remove it because of the fact that I don't have a one eye. And since it was just sitting there, he would just let it stay there unless it started giving me a lot of trouble or something,
He thought it might be a chance that you might lose the good eye.
Yes.
Okay.
So he said that if the cataracts start bothering me, he'll move it, but right now he didn't want to touch the glass that was still there.
People became familiar with not only your sister and your 3 friends, but they became familiar with the story because of the documentary Eyes on the Prize. But in the early 2000, if I'm not, because I can't remember the date, Spike Lee did a documentary on your friends and your sister, 4 little girls,
yes,
which kind of told for the first time. And that's why it's necessary for our filmmakers, instead of making a bunch of foolishness, is to start telling the accurate stories of our people's journey here in this country, whether good or bad. But Spike Lee did a documentary on 4 little girls. I know he came to town and talked with the families. Did he talk with you personally?
No, he didn't. At first when Spike Lee wanted to make the documentary, he really wanted to make this documentary for Denise McNair.
Okay.
And everybody started talking. It was just in the news that why don't he make a documentary for all the 4 girls, because all of them died at the same time. So after the people began to talk, then he wanted to call my house late that Sunday night when we were ready to settle down, and he wanted to come by then. And I just couldn't let him in, and my husband, he didn't want me to come in like that, because I told him, I said, why do you want to come now when at the last minute to put me in the doctor when you want to just Denise McNair. And I just let him know that he just couldn't come over to my house like that. You know, he didn't make arrangement or anything, appointment to come to my house. So then he told me that, and I asked him, was he going to pay me? He said all the money was going to scholarship. So I thought maybe he would try to do something for me since I was still, suffering with this injury. But he told me that, so I just didn't want to deal with him.
Well, even though he didn't come right, Mr. Rudolph, I'm glad he told a story, a more accurate story of what went on with your sister and your three friends.
Yes, I am too.
Before we take our break, let's go to the phones. We have a caller online from Mandelicon from Delaware. Mandelicon?
Oh, yes. Well, much love and much respect, man. This is so very, very timely in the city of Philadelphia. We have a Queen Mother co-host who's hosting the show with you, right?
Well, she's our guest. Sister SARAH Collins Rudolph. She was one of the, it was 5 little girls that was in that bathroom, Brother Mandelicon, but 4 were killed. You know about the 4 that were killed. Well, she was a survivor. She was tragically hurt. She was seriously hurt, but she's on the line with us this evening.
And that's beautiful. Let's just lock it in right where we come from to right where we are today. And I got to give a blessing. Blessed are the mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and their warring factions from the Congo to the Bongo for this day, who are the true entitlers of Mother Earth's precious, precious resources through the Creator. And who's ever with the Creator, you can only add and multiply. Who's ever with the evil ones, whoever they are, they can only subtract and divide. And they've lost because Queen Mother used the key word, and she said it was, she was saying we were sitting in our peaceful surroundings, and they heard a big bang. And see, that was so key. And lock that in, everybody, a big bang. And then y'all talked about the blast, and you talked about the bombs, the terrorists, and the bombers. And the host of the program brought forth something quickly, but he went in past it. But the Pan-African Intelligence Network want to lock that in because he spoke of the origin, the beginning. And we all know that no matter where we came from and where we are now, this is a new engagement of the Big Bang that created fear in the human family and created not an interaction where people can help each other, but created a way that thunder and lightning showed that it can produce death on earth. And wherever we found from the Genesis, whoever authorized the documentation, and historically we got it now. We got them, y'all. No one in the African, in the Asian, in Latin America, the Caribbean.
We're coming up on our break, Mandelicon.
Yes, sir. But I want to say that didn't originate from us. And when we look today, people with the red, white, and blue say that they don't like bombs. But yet the whole Pledge of Allegiance still says the rockets red glare and the bombs bursting in the air. You see, that's very important for us to realize that in 2013, we've tried everything. It has to be the red, black, and green. And that gives us our diplomatic immunity from all the Holocausts that we are forced into by a pledge that still stands for divided we stand and together we all fall.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, man.
Thank you for your call, Brother Mandelicon. You know, he raised a good issue about the violence because we see here that the violence that this country allowed and still allows caused 4 young ladies to lose their life in a church in the basement. 4 young ladies attending Sunday school or Bible class, that lost their life. The 5th one is with us this evening, Sister SARAH Collins Rudolph. And we're going to take a brief break, but hold on till after the break. You can join this conversation at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Toll free to our online listeners, 1-866-361-0900. That's 1-866-361-0900. We'll be right back.